I recently finished a game called Blasphemous, a Metroidvania with a Catholic theme, and it really got me thinking about games that gave the genre that name. While I've never been a fan of Castlevania, only truly playing Bloodstained Curse of the Moon a time or two, there was one other game that came to mind. For those who may not know what a Metroidvania is, it is a game that is typically a non-linear 2D exploration-based game where you find items around the map to help you through other parts of the map. Say there's a wall too high to climb, you get a jump item. Metroidvanias are not always 2D, see Metroid Prime. This is why I would label Dark Souls as a Metroidvania. With all the prerequisites out of the way, let's get to what this video is about. Super Metroid. My favorite Metroid game, followed only by Metroid Dread and then in far last is Fusion. Super Metroid is a game about Samus Aran, a galactic bounty hunter who is sent on several suicide missions and comes out mostly unscathed. Most of the time. It's Metroid Fusion. Super Metroid's story follows directly after the story of Metroid 2: Return of Samus. After sparing the baby Metroid on SR-388, Samus takes it to the space colony controlled by the Galactic Federation. Leaving the baby Metroid with the Federation, Samus takes off, and before she's even left the asteroid belt, there's an alert from the colony. This is where the game starts. Metroid has a lot of good features, starting with the movement and the shooting. Some think it feels clunky because you stop whenever you land, and some other things that are a little weird, yeah. However, after a few minutes, you get used to it. Shooting is really simple. Bumpers can aim diagonally, and you can aim diagonally with the D-pad while moving. In terms of movement, there are a lot of options. And it's even expanded later in the game with items like high jump boots and space jump. There are many beam upgrades, you can unlock missiles, you can increase your health. There's so much to collect that in the early game you feel very weak. But by the end of the game, you feel like you've come super far. You even feel unstoppable against some enemies. This is a clear division in the video. Ahead are a few mild boss spoilers, but if you're okay with that or have already played the game, you can keep going. If you're not and you would like to keep it spoiler free, skip to this point in the video. I'll give you time to do that now. Okay, everyone's still around okay with spoilers? Yeah? Good. The bosses are the final good point I would like to touch up on. Keep in mind that there are still so many good things about this game, but I'd like to keep this video under, like an hour long, so we're just gonna go with 3. The bosses in this game are so diverse but yet keep a theme so well, from returning bosses such as Kraid and Ridley, to newcomers such as Phantoon and Dragon. Even one of the original bosses, Mother Brain, gets a whole new phase where she turns into a dinosaur and you have to fight that thing with just missiles, and during the fight, the game's namesake, the Super Metroid, or from the beginning of the game, helps you kill Mother Brain. Welcome back to those who skipped the spoilers. There isn't a whole lot bad about this game, but I can think of a few things. First is the clunky movement. I know I touched up on this in the beginning, but I'd just like to hit this one more time. It is very weird if you're not accustomed to it already. The movement wasn't truly fixed until Metroid Dread, so both Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid Fusion, and everything before Super Metroid has really weird movement. However, like I said, you get used to it before reaching the first mini-boss, and by the end of the game, it feels like second nature. Next is how they teach wall jumping. Yes, there is wall jumping. No, it is not easy to do. It involves somersaulting at a wall, and then while moving in the opposite direction, jumping in unison. It's not an easy thing to learn. I still have trouble with it, and I've had several playthroughs of this game to date. And this is how they teach it to you. What is that even supposed to mean? The Shine Spark is a little bit better, but what is this supposed to mean? It still isn't explained very well. The final thing that I want to touch up on, it doesn't bother me as much as how they teach complicated movement, but the last thing is fast travel. This isn't a huge one because after you finish one area, you're usually fairly close to the next place you need to go, But if you want to go back and get items from a previous area, you have to walk all the way across the map. Whether that be a super missile or charge beam, it doesn't matter. You have to walk all the way across the map. I guess this is made slightly better by the fact that there's shortcuts throughout the map, but you have to already know where those are, because if you're just going back for an upgrade, you're not going to know where it is. You may ask yourself, what does the ugly mean? Well, this is a segment dedicated to things that aren't inherently bad, but more so things that just aren't right. First off, glitches. There aren't a lot of glitches, but the ones that there are very well known by speedrunner and veteran alike. Glitches like the mock ball, the blue suit glitch, and the suit switch. None of these are necessarily bad. I use mock ball and suit switch for most of my casual playthroughs. However, they're not intended. Next is additional abilities, such as the wall jump and shine spark we talked about earlier. But most beams also have an additional ability when you change into the ball form with a power bomb equipped. You wouldn't even find these because you have to unequip all other beams for it to work, and you're never given a reason to take any beam off except maybe ice beam if you're a little annoyed that you have to shoot enemies twice. The last weird thing about the game is the good ending. While escaping at the end of the game, you have the option to save some of the animals that taught you how to wall jump and shine spark. The only thing that this changes is a pixel that flies away from the exploding planet at the end of the game. Like I said, not bad, just weird. Between the bad and the good, all these things together make for one of the best Super Nintendo games you can find, and one of my favorite and a lot of other people's favorite games of all time.